Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. As promised last week, to balance out my top 5 horror movies of 2021 list, today I'll be talking about the 5 worst horror movies I saw in 2021. Starting my list with easily the funniest horror movie I saw last year, Old. Old is directed by M. Night Shyamalan and tells the story of a family on a tropical holiday who discover that the secluded beach where they are relaxing is somehow causing them to age rapidly and reducing their lives into a single day. I almost didn't include Old on the list because I'll admit I did enjoy watching this hot mess of a movie. I mean, sure, I could spend hours criticizing the stupid character choices, strange performances, horrible dialogue, bad science, weird shots, laughable ending, and many plot holes. But for as bad as it was, at least it wasn't boring. You have to give it that. Similar to M. Night's other movie, The Happening, Old was so terrible, it almost went full circle and became good again. While it doesn't quite work as a good horror movie, it absolutely makes for a fantastic comedy. This is truly the ultimate M. Night Shyamalan experience. At this point, whatever he makes next, I guarantee I'll be watching it on opening day. Whether it's the next Sixth Sense or another abomination like Old, at least I know I'll be in for an entertaining 2 hours, no matter what. Now, as much as I want to, I probably shouldn't spend any more time in this video talking about Old, so if you want to hear me rant about it more and discuss M. Night's career in full, check out my full review, linked above. Next on my list of the worst horror movies of 2021 is Don't Breathe 2. Don't Breathe 2 is a sequel to Don't Breathe and once again follows a blind army veteran who must now protect his adopted daughter from a group of violent burglars. This is a movie that's existence made no sense to me before I even saw it. The idea of turning the villain from the last movie, who is a full-on rapist and murderer, into this new sequel's cool, badass action hero, seemed like a very strange choice. Despite this, I still wanted to give this sequel the benefit of the doubt. I like Fede Alvarez, and I really like the first movie. I wanted to be wrong, I wanted the decision to work. Though after watching this sequel still completely baffles me. Don't Breathe 2 is inferior to the original in every way. Everything that made the first movie work is thrown out the window and replaced with meaningless violence and blind man superpowers. Everyone in this movie is completely unlikable. And as a result, it's hard to get invested or care about anything that is going on. Sure, the protagonists from the first movie were flawed, but they were still redeemable, and you actually cared to see them escape from the hellish, pitch-black maze. There was real tension and real suspense. As for the sequel, it's nothing but 2 hours of dogs dying, characters arguing, and watching the blind asshole superglue people's mouths shut. I truly do not see the purpose of this sequel, except to cash another check. Another movie from 2021 that I hated was Things Seen and Heard. Things Seen and Heard is about a woman who, after moving to a small town with her husband, begins to suspect that their home harbors dark secrets. I promise, I watched this entire movie when it came out in April, and I'll be completely honest with you all, now as I'm making this video, I'm really struggling to remember a single thing that happened in it. I almost considered watching it again as a refresher, but I didn't want to put myself through that. Plus, Things Seen and Heard was so painfully dull and uninteresting, I bet I could have watched this yesterday and still completely have forgotten the plot. Hell, at this point, I'm not 100% convinced this and You Should Have Left are different movies. They both star Amanda Seyfried, they both take place in a haunted house, and they both have incredibly vague titles that sound like horror parodies. So unless you're looking for a visual sleep aid, please skip Things Seen and Heard. Next on my list of 2021 is Held. Held tells the story of a couple whose failing marriage gets put to the test when they are held hostage in an isolated vacation rental by an unseen voice that commands their every move and threatens harm if they don't obey. This is a movie probably few of you have even heard of. I don't remember how I came across it, but I thought that premise seemed interesting enough to give it a try. I wish I didn't. After a semi-interesting first 20 minutes, Held falls flat on its face. This movie, similar to The Hunt, tries to provide you with a big message, a social commentary on gender roles. And much like The Hunt, it's not that I dislike the message itself, I just disliked the piss-poor execution. Held's message about gender is so surface level and over-explained. It's like a Black Mirror episode written by someone with a severe concussion. Before I get to my least favorite horror movie of the year, Once again, here are some dishonorable mentions from 2021. Army of the Dead, Fear Street Part 2, Halloween Kills, Great White, Separation, and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, without a doubt, my least favorite horror movie of the year 2021 was Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn tells the story of a group of hikers who stray off course and cross into land inhabited by a hidden community of mountain dwellers who use deadly means to protect their way of life. I hated this Wrong Turn movie for two main reasons. Number one, the movie itself was pretty bad, pretty uninspired, and pretty boring. I liked two scenes at most in the entire movie: the log roll you already see in the trailer, and the blind scene in the cave. Other than that, it's another below average generic horror movie where a group of attractive college students are warned by locals to stay out of the woods, go in the woods anyways, and get killed off one by one. No one has an ounce of character, the movie itself doesn't have a specific personality or style, the writing and direction is lackluster, it's not scary, it's not funny, it's not fun, and it drags on, feeling twice as long as its runtime. Beyond this being a pretty lousy movie, the second reason why I didn't like Wrong Turn is because Wrong Turn is not a Wrong Turn movie. The Wrong Turn franchise and its 6 previous films are horror comedies about horribly disfigured mutant cannibals. They're bloody, they're silly, and they're dumb. Love them or hate them, there are very clear elements you have to include to make a Wrong Turn movie. This new reboot just used the Wrong Turn title to try to trick audiences into seeing this wet fart of a film. The fans of the franchise who paid $5 to rent a Wrong Turn movie expected a Wrong Turn movie, not some dry, uninteresting, overly serious cult drama. It's like making a Walking Dead spin-off with no zombies, or an It sequel with no killer clown, or a Halloween sequel about evil masks that kill kids. Even if I ignore all of that, even if they didn't call this Wrong Turn and instead titled it Dumb Kids in the Forest or Spooky Woods Cult, I'd still hate this movie, and it still would absolutely have a spot in my 5 worst horror movies of 2021. And that is my bottom 5 list. Please in the comments below, let me know what was the absolute worst horror movie you had the displeasure of watching last year. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. Twice a week I post horror reviews, commentaries, deep dives, and short 2-minute recommendations for horror movies you should watch on Netflix and other streaming services. Thank you all for watching my very late 2021 ranking lists. I'll be back next week with new reviews for new horror movies that came out in 2022. Bye!